Hi everyone. So I'm Regina Ong, and along with me, Girish, we'll be spending the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Wow, okay, taking pictures. We will be on LinkedIn soon. Yeah, good. Yeah. So for me, I've been in product for quite some time, and usually I weave that into the digital way of working or agile way of working with organizations on their transformation journey. Yeah, those who know me will, and especially Garish, Case, and Bakse, who's behind, they know me probably as someone who thinks really big. I used to work for Singapore Airlines, and for GovTech, leading the Agile Digital Practice. At the time when I left last year, I had a community about 900 members who voluntarily joined the practice community. So, and hopefully for today, you take away something that you might find helpful in the way that you build products or in the way that you think about a service. And yeah, let's have fun together.
Thank you, Regina. Folks, can I ask how many of you are familiar with what product or service management is? 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. Great. I think for the ones who know, amazing. Thank you for spending more time with us. This is going to be useful for you in a way where, one of the tenets of product management is always being a step ahead. So this session is a lot more about using AI to help you with building better products. So it's a very nice taster session. How many of you think it's just going to be a talk? Okay, the people who didn't raise their hands, what do you think it's going to be?
It's a silent consent.
Silent consent. Oh, I love that. Sometimes I get nervous when nobody says anything, and now I'm going to just tell my head, nobody saying anything means silent consent. So anybody else who's... Perfect. It's a little more interactive, so you're going to be doing stuff. So if you don't have ChatGPT, Gemini on your phone, don't worry. You don't need to download it. You can just use it on the web. It's going to be that. Okay. As we get in, I think I have a question for all of you. What is a product or a service that you really like to use? You can just shout out some answers. Grab. LinkedIn. Interesting. Yes? Sorry? SingPass. Yes. It's one of my favorite products. I don't remember. Did you work on it?
I work with the team when they have challenges.
Okay. Perfect. So you have real experience going to come from there. What else?
More recently, ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Interesting.
Changi image creation.
Oh, love it. Love it. 0.0 seconds. Yes. Okay. And since we have people who are silent consent, I'm going to do what we always do, a QR. So you can scan the QR. We want to hear more answers. These are good starts. And of course, we'll see what they are. Everyone who scanned it, please put at least one. The variety helps. Like we just learned that Regina helps, build a product that everybody here loves. Did you also do something with Grab?
No, unfortunately not. But I know friends do.
Yes. When you're done, you can look at me awkwardly, so I know you're done. Some people are done. A few more seconds to go. Sorry. Awesome. I see a lot of awkward stares to me. Thank you. Okay. It is interactive. You signed up for a workshop, so you get a second question. What are you curious about to take away from today's workshop? You read the description. You're here today, and it's self-navigate on Menti. You could say it out loud as well. But it's the same QR. You just have to self-navigate to the next. this will help us set the stage and help us get you what you want. Okay, Regina, can we go to the first question, please? The Libby app. We know somebody from NLB who's here, right, with us, who's probably connected with Libby. Amazon Fresh, Runkeeper, Bitcoin, SingPass, Health Hub. It's so interesting to have so many of these Singaporean ones, and so many of them you probably worked on. So that's good. We'll come to that. The next question, what people want to learn. Great. How can you speed up the process? Is that a sign for me to speed up and hand over to Regina? So yes, we'll do exactly that. You'll learn how to, you'll do the first 3 for sure. Learn something about project management. Yes, this is the top 4 you'll definitely do. So with that, I'll speed up. Regina, all for you.
It's like, take the mic. Okay, all right. So this is great, yeah? How AI handles silence from the audience. How to find a problem to solve and convert it into a product. Okay, yeah, we will be looking into that. Okay.
I don't know how to use a Windows laptop. Somebody put Apple there, so I'm an Apple user. And I have challenges using a Windows laptop.
Here we go. No worries. Okay. So to set the stage, and as you can see, many of us have been exposed to all different types of products. And for today, I'm going to challenge you to do this. Whatever you're thinking, think bigger. Right? So just now I say, how can we do things faster? How can we incorporate AI? And we are going to have a taster session on that. So 3 things we're going to do today. We are going to look into a couple of the successful organizations with products that really hook their users. What is it that differentiates them? Then the second one, when we uncover the box, right? And what I realized working in the last 3 years or so, actually the last 3 to 5 years, I start to see some kind of a pattern. Right? So for me, I've had the privilege to be in touch and work directly with some of the 200 plus teams, product teams in my career in the last 4 to 5 years. So when I was in Singapore Airlines, we actually took 105 squads or teams on their transformation journey. In public service, we had another 80 to 90 plus squads or teams on their going from good to great. Yeah, they already knew what Agile was, they knew what digital was, and there's so much emphasis on that, right? So what I've done is to formulate it into a very, very simple framework, all right? And we're going to have a try at using this framework, plus a bonus to power it up with AI. Yeah, so, and that's going to be the third thing. How can we use AI to, de-risk and maybe some of the elements that we didn't think about, using our own human brain power, what else is there that we can reduce the risk? So when I was working with Singapore Airlines and during COVID, how many of you remember this flight to nowhere? Yeah, okay, yeah, I start to see little smiles. Why do you think it didn't really work out so well? Any guesses?
That's not the environment you want to sit and eat comfortably.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, so the good thing is that they didn't really build this full product yet. It was an idea that they socialized and started to build and started to put some comms out, because just before COVID, Singapore Airlines has already started their digital journey for about 1.5 years or so. right? So it was a good thing they didn't build this product and started to sell it. It was more socializing it, and they had a hypothesis. They had a hypothesis that our customers actually love to sit in this beautiful aircraft, get the best service and the great meals and the wonderful entertainment system. Yeah, so one of my team actually worked on the entertainment system. So every time I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, right. Um, what they missed out on was that their customers was more interested in getting from point A to point B in a very nice setting, in a very comfortable setting with 5-star service, top quality, world-class service. They were not really keen to pay to sit in a plane, right? As what you mentioned, right? So, and then there were also something else that they didn't consider: the environment, right? Where we are getting more conscious about being green, about sustainability. We're just burning a lot of fuel without, really achieving the end goal, getting to that level of customer satisfaction, right? So there's a missing element in here, right? So let's offer flights to nowhere. It's more like, okay, let's build a bunch of features, and so as to get to some revenue goals, right? But in here, there's something missing, and that consideration also causes a lot of products to fail. I'm going to move on to another example. This one. Anyone remember the days where DBS had this this acronym, right? Yeah, some of you are already laughing. Yeah. Uh, and for the leadership and the staff in DBS, in the organization, those who were involved in transformation, actually, when I was working in Singapore Airlines, one of my colleagues, a design colleague, was directly involved in the transformation, where it went from, them bloody slow, pardon my French, and moving on to making banking joyful, right? What do you notice about the snapshot over there? Or these two snapshots? When they are aiming for making banking joyful, what are they also saying? They say, hey, I don't want you to stand in the queue or be on the hotline and be on hold. Have you guys called DBS? I'm a DBS customer also. And it used to irk me when I get put on hold, right? Yeah. So they want you to leave more, and how will they do that? So they have actually 3 focus areas, which is one, being digital to the core, looking at platforms and looking at how they can design a banking app that really meets the customer's needs. The second one is they're thinking from the customer's shoes. It's something where they say, okay, make DBS invisible. Those of us who knows the inside story, we actually call it managing by journeys. That means like you're walking through the start to the end as if you were in the shoes of a customer, right? Out of this, they did quite a lot of user interviews. They did a lot of observations. They did a lot of design thinking. So this is whatever that they have done is actually also filmed and captured, and you can also look it up on YouTube after this, right? Most of all, they wanted to create a startup, a kind of startup culture where it was easy to experiment, rapid, and not bound by a lot of red tape. So the way that they organize themselves, they also had to look at that, right? And then, as you can see, how we can avoid the feature factory trap, having the vision, having a goal. So bank less, leave more. Yeah, you have your goals, you have your features and outcomes, right? And if you miss any of the strategy choices, for example, if DBS had gone on the transformation and then say like, hey, I didn't have the 3 focal areas, let's just leave more, bank less. Their staff will be like, how do I do that, right? Let's build a bunch of stuff. Let's build some apps. And what I've seen with the 200 plus teams that I've worked with, nearly half of them where they have some failures in their products, or they have weak results or confused, unmotivated staff, is really this gap. And this gap is sometimes invisible, right? Because we might be a leader or a product owner might be thinking like, hey, of course, these choices that I would make as a leader, as a product owner for my product to be successful, these are so obvious. But often it's not communicated, right? So today, what I want to do is to really take you guys through the actionable visioning. Yeah, a lot of the times people feel that visioning is very fluffy. Yeah, what can we do with that? And you'll have teams, those of you who are working with teams or, when you create a product vision, you file it away. You put it aside. And then let's go build something. Familiar? Yeah. Okay. So strategy itself, I always say that it's a lot of buzzwords. So essentially, it's about making choices. So if I use, layman terms, it's about weighing your options and then saying, hey, what am I trading off? So that I want to be different from the rest. Because if I'm different from the rest in a way that suits my customers, then it's most likely that my product has a high chance of success, right? So how do we do that? So by making choices visible, this layer over here that is right now grayed out, if we make that visible and then we say, hey, what do you mean by choices, right? Essentially, we're looking at hypothesis, and then how do we break down the problem, right? If we do X, and I'm just going to scribble on the wall. The slides will also be available after this session, so that's a little bit of a gift for everyone. So for hypothesis, if we do X, Y will change by Z. And usually this is something measurable, right? Some of us with design thinking background, we will know that, hey, isn't this quite like your problem statement? Yeah, it is, right? You're taking a very big problem and decomposing it, and then making a decision of which one you want to focus on, your strategy choices. So whenever you make a choice, then you have your hypothesis, all right? And over here, Y is usually some shifts in behavior. So what I found working with 200 plus teams is that most of the time when teams or products fail is because that layer is not visible. And sometimes people will tell me, oh, but Regina, my company is very unique. Like the setup here is very unique. We have a lot of red tape and all that. Yeah. What I found is in both public and private sector is the same in terms of how you look at the product. Of course, the product itself will be different. Yeah, but when we make the choices available and rather visible, then it reduces a lot of the communication gaps. And just last week, I had someone, one of my ex-colleagues actually wrote to me. She said, hey, Regina, I used the actionable visioning approach, and guess what? It was just 2 iterations, 2 conversations with my leaders and my teammates, and everyone got the full picture. We were able to execute. That was in less than 4 hours, right? And increasingly, I'm seeing this. We don't have to sit in half a day workshop, 2-day workshop, 3 days workshop, right? Because when you put everything in a pyramid format, it's all very relatable, all right? So keep it simple. Which one of these 2 elements do you think is the most difficult to identify or to articulate? Which one? First two, okay. Vision and goals. Any other guesses from behind? Vision, goals, choices, features, outcomes. Outcomes, okay, outcomes. How about this side? Choices. Yeah, actually it's a combination of both of your answers. What I found is that vision and choices are the most difficult one. And the top most difficult one is actually choices. Because why? This is invisible, right? So how would we be able to talk about it? Yeah. So once you put this map down, it becomes a very easy conversation to go about it. And we all know this story about Netflix, where it became the movie streaming cost started coming down. It was no longer that cost-worthy to rent DVDs or get DVDs posted to you. This was in the US, but also I think some of us, like myself, have been in the era where you have seen the CD, the DVD, and then you pop it into a machine, right? You go to the store and you rent it. And for Netflix, even for the large companies, they use something similar. They have a vision, be the best global entertainment distribution service, and then they define the strategic outcomes. Everyone knows how to do this, right? Like, nothing amazing, and not so much challenging maybe. Then we could put some KPIs, because most of the time, most of us in our organizations will have leaders who say, okay, so what's your KPI? or these days they will say, what's your objectives and key results? Yeah. Then they have some strategy bets also, personalization. So whenever, for how many of you have Netflix at home or even on your mobile device? Yeah. Okay, I'm sure there's more hands than that. And then the rest are like, what, those silent consent, is it? All right. Yeah, so you have your personalization. When it loads, it tells you you have watched such and such movies. And then I'm going to recommend you some other shows to watch. The content are original. So they have also started to, Netflix has also started to produce their own films and win awards, Emmy Awards and all that. The viewing experience, you can possibly right now, watch Netflix anywhere, the bandwidth and all that. It's quite good actually, right? Games. At that time, last year when I was running a workshop similar to this, but in a larger format for a 200-man team, we were very surprised. We were like, why is games here? Oh, maybe our research, our desktop research was not so good. And then we just felt like, okay, never mind, it's okay, we try to validate it with a few sources. And it is true. Games was one of the strategy choices. Then, of course, they have pricing. Now, for those of you who have recently looked into Netflix, what do you see I think somewhere at the top? Before you see your movies and all that, you actually see games. I'm not sure how they are going to monetize it because one of their strategy, they use the GEM strategy. So growth, monetize, and engage. Right. So perhaps that is an experiment. There's a documentary about Netflix where at any one time they're running 1 billion experiments. And they're very good with the data stuff and tagging, so then they can also track their experiments. All right. So quite wow, right? I saw some of you, you're like, wow. Okay, we are going to try this approach. But first, what can help to craft more powerful vision statements, identify the right strategy choices for driving change in the right direction? Any guesses? AI, yeah, I heard a very small AI sound. Yes? Okay, so a lot of times in the real world, right, people will say like, hey, okay, can we get to the solution fast? And you have to be spot on also. Yeah, let me move this. Is it going anywhere? Yeah, you need to be spot on, right? And of course, AI comes to the rescue, right? You whip out your ChatGPT, your Gemini, your Perplexity, and then you go about. So this is what we're going to do right now. Think about a problem to solve. I have a ready-made problem for you already. So I think most of us here love traveling, or you have some year-end holiday or holidays coming up. Yes? How many of you actually buy travel insurance? Yes? Yeah? Okay, quite a few of us, right? So we can take this problem to solve. Like, I want to travel safe. When there is an emergency, I want to be compensated for it. And then some of us could be working right now on a product or service, right? Or you have that product that you love, which we talked about at the start. So I had the Libby library app. So you can think about that. What problem is the product trying to solve? Okay, so right now I want you to turn to your neighbor in twos or threes. Yeah, so this is like a little bit awkward, but you try to start to have a network going and some conversations going. Share with each other. Yeah, which one of these are you going for? Do you want to explore more the problem to solve, the travel insurance one, or the product that you love? Okay, so now, so 30 seconds thinking, and then you turn to your neighbor and like, hey, which one are you going for, one or two? One. Yeah, you can pair. You can do in a group of four also, or three. Yeah, it's okay. So the three of you can do it together. One. Okay. All right. How about those at the back? One, two. Which product? Okay. So you can think of a problem to solve. Then now, you have 5 minutes to use the AI tool on your phone. So if you don't have a computer, that's fine. You can use your phone. You open up. What's your AI tool of choice? ChatGPT. For me, it's ChatGPT. Perplexity sometimes. All right, and then give this a try. Create the vision statement. Yeah, for the aspirational state, the goals, and the strategy choices. You don't have to refine the response that comes out first. Just take the first response that comes up. And then we're going to get a couple of you to share.
Now half the room leaves.
Yeah, there. No. And there might be some of you who have some keywords in mind. All right. So let's see how that works out. What is AI telling you? What is your AI tool telling you? I'm going to have a peek around. Oh, you look like you had something interesting. What about you guys? What do you?
Travel insurance part, right? Since you work for Chubb, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Okay, so you start to realize that, hey, I have a very powerful tool in my hand to speed up the product management. Okay, all right, let's hear a couple of responses. You chose one, right? Yeah. Just the vision.
For the vision, to travel freely with peace of mind, knowing we are safe, well prepared, and financially protected in case of unexpected events.
Safe, well prepared, protected. Yeah. Do we have anyone over this side of the room? Anyone chose two or? Yep. Okay, come.
So wanted to talk about
The vision which you put in.
maybe
What was the result?
Those guys. Folks, you can just say it out loud.
Yeah, just
Don't wait
shout
for
out.
the mic.
The vision statement is to become the most trusted and effortless travel companion, enabling anyone to move from point A to B with the best experience at the lowest possible price.
What's the product that you have in mind or the problem to solve?
The problem we want to solve is to have the best experience for the lowest price to travel from point A to B.
I think as a user, we are always thinking which is the best flight, cheapest flight,
Yeah.
less duration, less cost.
when it comes.
All right. That's quite cool. Okay.
Folks, while we were doing this, sorry, how many of you typed this prompt in? Everybody? This is how we continuously learn. We had one person there who simply clicked a picture of this and sent it to ChatGPT and said, help me answer. And it's an amazing answer. So we're learning together. It's an amazing problem to solve.
Right. Yeah. So like we can also have some shortcuts. Yeah. So as we are using the AI tool. Okay. So what else did your AI tool give you? Did it automatically give you some goals? Yeah. Yeah. Did it also give you some strategy choices?
Maybe later.
So for yeah, so it doesn't have the point A to point B, right? Which is the cheapest choice. What other Speed and simplicity. Okay, I don't like this mic.
You don't like any mic or this mic?
I think this one sounds better, right? Yeah. Otherwise, I sound a little bit like Mickey Mouse. Ah, okay. Proactive alerts. So, are those your choices, your strategy choices? The goals. So, what is the goals? Proactive alerts, okay. Smart recommendation. Okay, this is quite interesting, right? What does this sound like to everyone? These two items here, proactive alerts and smart recommendation. Do they really sound like goals? Okay, you can self-critique your response. Does it sound like goals? Yeah, more tactics, right? It's like more tactics, more features. It has a sense of features, right? It's like these are the things that I'm gonna build so that I have the right price at the right time, right? And this is also quite interesting, right? Because when you start to look at the relevance of the responses that comes up with from the AI tool, we start to see that, hey, there are parts of this which I probably need to critique it. I need to review it a bit, right? Are we going down the feature factory route? Which AI tool did you use? Which one? Which two? Oh, okay. All right. So this one was from what? The paid or the non-paid version? Oh, ah. So this is ChatGPT. Free. Pro. Okay, Pro. Okay. Yeah, so GPT-5, and then this is free. Huh. But this is also quite interesting, right? When we start to sit in a classroom like that or in a workshop like that, we start to learn different things, right? Like I don't have to type in the prompt, probably it matters like which version I use or whether I'm paying for it or not. Yeah. And we also start to think about, when we look at the responses that's coming in, the vision and all that, content is king, right? These are the content. The features are the content. I can build an alert, I can build a recommender. But guess what? These features could also live anywhere else, right? I could have a mobile banking app. It gives me smart alerts and it gives me maybe some smart recommendations and proactive alerts, right? So context is king, yeah? So you can have the best content, but it's the environment around. So it's also going back to that Singapore Airlines example, right? We think that we have built a really good offering or put out a very good idea. However, what else do we need to consider, right? And this is where we need to bring in the context, right? Why were we able to know that, like, hey, these two items don't really sound like goals, right? It's because we can differentiate right now what are features, what are goals, what are visions, and what are outcome. And then you need to put in the context. Who are we building it for? Yeah, what's the environment like? What kind of technology are you using? Yeah, what kind of organization? So for those of us who are sitting in the organization, and then what are the outcomes that we want to achieve, right? So when you put these into your AI tool right now, so say for example, if I were travel insurance, and nowadays the sporting event High Rocks is very popular, right? So and there are people I do have friends who travel for sporting events, right? And they take part in that, and sometimes they could get some accidents, right? Something unfortunate might happen, right? So maybe I want a travel insurance that caters to people who do extreme sports, right? So I start to put in my context, and then I start to put in environment, extreme sports. I'm a sportsman or anything like that. What kind of technology, and then the type of organization if there is applicable, right? So once we put in the context, and nowadays, we are moving away from the writing prompts to putting in the context, because why? It will start to give you richer responses. It will give you things that are more relevant, right? So other than relying on whatever information that can be put on the internet and your chat history, right? Imagine how much richer and more proactive the responses will come in, right? It will start to ask you, oh, do you want a one pager so that you can communicate your product vision and your strategy to your leaders? Yeah. So for those of you who still have your device, what you can do is to put in some context, right? What's your target audience? Maybe I'm targeting professionals or business men, business travel. For the point A to point B, it could be family holidays. Family holidays are really costly, yeah. So you can give it a try, and then let's see what comes up. So usually with context, when we write context, it's almost like writing a background. Yeah, I am a small, medium enterprise, and I want to build this product for such and such customer. And you may not need to use everything in the context pack. This is quite a comprehensive context pack, all right? You can pick and choose the one that you think has the most relevance. Who has something that you want to share? And then we can all have a look together and learn. Yes, I can see that. Anyone else? Anyone using other AI tool other than ChatGPT? Yes. Which one? Claude. Oh, okay. How is it looking like for you?
What is more creative in the answers, right? If you use ChatGPT, pretty much everybody here is using it right now, so your answer will be generic, right? So when it's moving from, whichever agent you're using it's not about prompt engineering, but now context engineering, right? So you need to at least at the bare minimum put in what is your role, and then what's the goal, and how you want the output to be. Yeah. So actually, even before this slide, using that framework, right, it already generated for me like a 5-year plan, roadmap, and everything, right? So yeah.
Yeah, very, very amazing, right? Nowadays, I just give it one question and I don't tell it what format that I want it to be. Because I wanted to see like, oh, how could it come in the responses, right? And if you were to straight up say, for example, use ChatGPT and then say like, hey, what is your vision? What is a vision? And if you just input that one question, it becomes very, very limited. And that's where, like what our friend, what's your name? Clement, yeah, what Clement has just said, it becomes very generic, right? So, give confidence, explore the world and all that. And many of us could then have some variation of like this, all right? So with context, and that's where you start to contextualize, right? Whenever we go for a training, we say like, hey, can you contextualize this? Or when you learn a new concept, can you contextualize? And this is actually what it means when you are working with an AI tool. All right, so for today's session is really that taster, right? Because a lot of times then people ask me, how do I write the context? Context engineering sounds so deep and meaningful, right? But what does it really look like? So now you have a way for building up your context pack, and you can make your own context pack. These 5 categories are just a starter. Right. So whenever we are trying to make the right strategy choices and rapidly having some product magic, right? You can use this framework, yeah, to achieve your vision, goals, and outcomes, and try to avoid the feature factory trap and starting from here. Yeah, we might be tempted to start from that layer, but as you can tell, there's a reason why it's one of the second last layers over there, right? And this is also a very good framework for communicating upwards to your leaders or downwards with your, or even horizontally with your teams. Very, very easy. Add on the context, tag, yeah, put it together. Okay. And then, oh, sorry, is some of you, are you taking pictures? Yeah. So as you can see, right, it's not very complicated if you want to do it fast and do it well. Because right now we have the latest models doing that, all right? And it helps us really to think bigger than what it is, right? Now, maybe I don't even need to type. Let's take a picture. Let's use some keywords, yeah? So you can scan the QR code over here and then say, hey, out of today's session, what is one shift or one change or one key takeaway you have from this short taster session? Yeah, quite a lot of you, actually, I think about 90% of you had a hands-on experience, yeah? So what is one shift you want to make? Okay, should be coming up, full screen. All right, don't fall into feature trap. Now you know how to do that. Add more context. Use Gen AI to learn of industry use cases. Yeah, that's also one way. Yeah, you can also, so right now there's a lot of conversation about using it to recommend products or using it to recommend solutions. Yeah, recently I'm using it to work with engineering teams when they do triages, when they are trying to find out, what is the root cause. If I have, 10,000 line of items to look at, what are some of the patterns in there. Yeah, so, and I'm glad that, out of today's session, a lot of you have these takeaways that you can also try, because one of the things that we are very focused on in the product management SIG is that it should be more than theory, it should be more than context, right? And more than the concept. So, if you have, some of the responses that you're working on, and then you might be thinking like, hey, I want to talk to someone about it. Yeah, I have a real life problem, but maybe, or a real life idea that I want to bounce off someone. Yeah, you can reach out to Girish and I. Yeah, or you can reach out to Denise. Also, Denise is a very firm advocate of product design. Yeah, she is trained as a designer. She works now in GovTech and recently was at one of our events in the fireside chat. And for those of you who love this session and found it useful, what you can do is also to sign up as a SES member, right? And Garish, myself, and some of us are sometimes, also at the managing a digital product session to share our experience. So feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn. All right?
Sorry, what chapter is it?
Product management. It's not a chapter, it's a special interest group. Yeah, in SES, yeah. So when we get enough people going, there's a lot of buzz, and then that's where we can take it to the next level as a chapter. All right? You want to do anything? Okay. All right. So now we would really appreciate your feedback. So if you love the session or you feel like, hey, I want more of this, or maybe we can do something different with this, yeah, give us your feedback. And then thank you everyone for your attention. So complete the feedback, let us know how we are doing, and really, really appreciate everyone's time and also your active participation.